Oh, man. Hello, world. What is up? Welcome to Build. I'm your host, Matt Forte, and we are here live at the Build Studio in New York City. Our next guest is the super talented young star at the center of the new Disney Plus original series, Diary of a Future President. The show details the origin story, the Batman Begins, if you will, of a future leader using the narration of 12-year-old Cuban American Elena's diary. The comedy follows her journey through the ups and downs of middle school, which set her on the path to becoming the President of the United States. This show, honestly, is a ton of fun. You need to go watch all of it as soon as you're done watching our interview. Folks, please put your hands together and please welcome star of Diary of a Future President, the great Tess Romero. Come on, do it up. Make some noise for Tess. Tess, I said it back there. I will say it again. You are awesome in this. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh. So I can't say enough nice things about you in this show. It is so much fun, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm excited to talk to you. We're not done yet. We're 5 episodes in.
Yes.
Episode 6 tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we're on the journey together. But first of all, just how are you doing? How is life? How is Tess?
I'm doing pretty great. You know, I've been chilling. It's been fun. I'm on break right now, so that's good.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Break from the show, break from school,
Break from school.
Oh, yeah, just break in
from
general.
everything.
Yeah, just break.
Not break from press, though,
Yeah,
clearly.
I'm so sorry you're working right now.
I'm still working, but...
But it is very nice to have you. I'm sorry you're here, but I'm also really excited that you're here.
No, it's fun. I'm glad to be here.
It's great to have you here. Well, that's cool. I'm glad you're enjoying your break so far. I want to talk so much about this show and about Elena and everything. Where did it all begin? How did you get involved? What was the audition process like? How did this journey start for you?
Well, I got the audition, and I went in, and I thought I bombed it. And then they...
Why did you think you bombed it?
Because, well, okay. So I had math tests every day that week. It was like one of the weeks where my teacher was trying to be a nightmare. So then I didn't have time to prepare as much as I would have liked, and I was in there for like way too long, like redoing it, and I thought it was a mess, but I guess they wanted me back anyways. So then I came back and I Skyped with Gina, and I Skyped with a casting director in LA, and they were so nice to me. And this whole time I was just doubting everything, you know, because they were being so sweet to me, and I was a little worried. I was like, no one's usually this nice to me. Like, are they trying to let me down easy? What's going on? Sure. Yeah, but then I went out to LA to do a screen test, and I did that, and everybody again was just so supportive and so nice. And then a few days later, I found out I got it.
Were you really nervous for the Skype with Gina? I mean, that's huge.
Oh my gosh. Well, I was like freaking out.
Of course.
I had heard of Jane the Virgin, but I hadn't seen it.
Yeah.
And I was like, everyone was telling me, like, you need to watch it. I'm like, no, then I'm going to freak out even more. Like, I can't watch it. So I was just trying to remain calm because I knew that she was, like, insanely talented and had won all these things. And so I talked to her, and she was just, like, a super sweet person. So it definitely put me at ease talking to her.
It's crazy. So obviously we see a little bit in the trailer, and you guys both play the same character, but at different points in time. She's the future you.
Yes.
And so naturally that means you're not on screen a lot together, but she directed the first episode. She's an EP on the show. She worked a lot. She obviously had a big hand in like casting you. And she said on press, she knew the second she saw you. She said right away, I knew, that's my Elena. That's who it's got to be. And you talk a little bit about the process and how you were a little nervous. Everybody was so nice. Did it feel faster than usual? Could you sense that Gina liked you? Like, was there a feeling of that, or were you completely taken by surprise?
I mean, I felt like she liked me because she told me that she liked me.
That's a big giveaway.
Yeah, I know. She's very open about, like, just, she's always, like, giving love, but she's giving love to everybody, so I'm like, she could just be, like, a giving person, but yeah, you know, she was just super sweet to me, and I felt like warm, and I felt like these people.
Where were you when you found out that you got it? Like, was it a phone call? Were you in a room? What was it?
It was a phone call. I was in my house. I was just chilling, you know, eating chips, and then my dad was like, "Oh, by the way," because my dad got the call when we were out, but he wanted to wait to tell, like, the whole family when we were back at home. Yeah.
Like, gather everyone around?
Yeah.
Were you like, what is he about to say right now? Or did you know it was about, like...
I was hoping, you know, I was, like, cautiously optimistic, but he had kept it for a while because I was being so annoying because I was, like, dragging us into every store along the way home, like, oh, what's this? And he's, like, bursting with his information, but yeah.
Did you know, I've seen, so since the show's aired, there's been a lot of articles and tweets, like people calling the role revolutionary and people tweeting and saying, like, how awesome it is to see themselves in a show, in a character and all that. Did you have any sense of, like, the gravity of Elena when you got the role and, like, how much this character would mean to so many people?
I mean, I loved her as a character, and I really connected with the character, but I didn't really realize, how much, representation matters to all these people, and until, like, people started telling me how great it was, and then I was like, oh yeah, wait, this is actually really cool.
I was gonna say, is that like when you find out that like so many people, it means so much to so many? Is that cool? Is it scary? What does it feel like? When you figure that out?
It feels insanely awesome that I got to participate in that. But really all the writing and Alana who created it, it's just all a joint effort. So I just feel lucky that I got to be a part of it.
So as you were getting ready for the role and preparing and like figuring out like what your version of Elena looks like, were you having conversations with Gina? Were you having conversations with the show creator? Who were you talking to like kind of help guide you and figure out how you were going to tackle this?
Yeah, Gina we talked a little in episode 1, just like figuring out Elena together. Also, Alana Pena I would talk to her, Robin Shore, like we would all just like talk a little bit about it. It was mainly just like reading the scripts and like sort of figuring out for myself, like who is she, and just like reading everything that they had wrote.
This is like, and you acted on some stuff before, you've been on things before, but this is like your big role. This is like your first like big role. Were you really nervous going in like day one, like super scared?
Oh yeah. I was like, I am not ready for this. I am not where I thought I would be by the time. Like for some reason I thought that like, okay, by the time we start filming, I'll be like all set in my life. I'll just have everything solid, but that was not correct.
Did you even sleep the night before? Or were you just up all night? No, super nervous.
No.
Of course not. How could you?
Yeah, I couldn't.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that's been a lot of fun to see, like in the more recent episodes, like 4 and 5 and stuff, we see Elena like, like finding a raisin and like standing up for stuff that she believes in. Like we're watching her kind of build and like putting these little blocks and bricks in place. Has it been exciting? Well, actually, you finished filming all 10, right?
Yes.
Okay, so was it exciting to kind of build this character and put all those pieces in place bit by bit?
Yeah, it was really cool. I was lucky because I got to read all of the scripts ahead of time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Very cool.
I think it may have been a mistake, but it's fine.
Wait,
it was good. I don't know. Like they were like, "Oh, you read the scripts?" And I was like, "Yeah." It was like a thing, but I was glad. I was glad for it.
It helped for you, yeah.
It helped me a lot because I got to see like where she ends up and like all these things that happen in the second half that hasn't come out yet, and then I could use that to see, okay, so she ends up here, so where can she start off, and like how can I help her get to that point at the end? So that was really cool.
Very, very cool. Yeah, and it's really awesome watching all those little like breadcrumbs that are later going to like turn into the president of the United States of America. Did you talk to Gina at all about like you guys finding things that you would do together, just like little things, like little mannerisms or little behaviors, or maybe a way you say a certain word, just like ways to make it really look like, oh, this is the president, but as a kid?
Yeah. There was definitely, in the beginning, there was a little bit more of Gina in it. So we would talk about things that like could connect us. So we decided that, Elena like pushes her hair behind her ears when she gets nervous, or like, maybe plays with her fingers, or like whatever it is, we decide like that. And episode 1, it was so great having Gina direct it because, we could really see her vision and just all the stuff that like makes Gina, just like makes Elena. There's like a lot of similarities there.
For sure. Would you say there's more similarities or differences between you, Tess, and Elena? What do you think? Are you guys more alike or are you more different? What do you think?
Maybe we're a little more alike.
Yeah.
But she also, we're both like very driven, I guess, and she's super hardcore, but she's also she can be a little intense. She can be a little much. She's a very strong force, but that can be a lot at times, and I think I might be a little more laid back.
Is it fun to be able to play that and turn that knob up a little bit and be a little more intense and be a little stronger than you get to be?
Yeah, for sure.
Did it take you time to like find that speed, or were you there right away? You were like, I know exactly how to be that. Like,
I think I kind of knew. she's just chilling, she's like straightforward, and yeah, she's like a strong.
One of the things that like really reminded me of you as a person is like watching Elena stand up for the stuff that she believes in and like forming this rally. And then I was looking at your Instagram. I think it's like your first post was a throwback from when you were at the women's rally and the women's march. And how old were you when you went to the first march or your first march? Do you remember?
I don't know. I think it was like 4th or 5th grade.
Yeah, it was It was a minute. It was a little while ago that you went. You were a little younger.
It was a few years ago.
Yeah.
But
do you remember? I know it was a while ago, but do you remember like why it was important for you to go to that at that time? And that's a silly question. It's an obvious answer, but I'm curious what you remember from that experience.
Well, I just knew that it was, you know, a march for women, a march for women's rights, a march for equal rights, and I've always loved women, you know, and females, so I just thought, okay, well, if I can support that, let's do it, you know?
Yeah. And do you remember that day, vividly, like going out and being with everybody?
I do.
Yeah.
It was a while ago, but like I do remember a lot of details about it, you know? It was really cool. I remember people chanting, and it was a really cool experience.
Yeah. One of the great things about being on a show that Gina's producing and has executive producing and has her hands in is Gina always goes above and beyond to make sure that not just the cast but the crew, that there's representation and diversity across the board. And so that ends up, the end result is you get to work with a lot of really smart and amazing people, a lot of smart and amazing women. What was that experience like, being surrounded by all these talented individuals?
It was amazing. You know, I was really lucky because all of these women are so great and so knowledgeable that I could just like soak in all of their.
Are you like, I must learn?
Yes. And you know, they're also sweet and like funny and just good people to be around, so that helped too. It wasn't like it, you know, obviously like it would be intimidating, but it wasn't because they were just so chill.
Yeah, they do a good job like making you feel welcome and like being comfortable.
There's like a lot of love.
Yeah, especially because like you're on the poster. You're number one. You're the future president. Like, it's a big deal. So it's important for them to kind of like make you cool with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Were any of them, did you ask for advice, or were they giving you advice? Is there something that's like stuck with you that you're like excited to bring with you to the next project?
Oh yeah, they gave me like a ton of advice on just, you know, life outside of just on camera and stuff like that.
Do you remember like any of it, like anything that like stuck with you that you're like, oh, that's really smart. I've never heard that before.
I mean, a lot of the stuff was like you could figure it out, but it was good to hear it from people. Like Sally kept telling me how to not let yourself get taken advantage of by, you know, people, like, you know, just to watch out for people who could try and like, you know, have their little things, because everyone has an agenda, stuff like that.
For sure. One of the things that I love about this show is how authentic everything feels. The middle school experience feels so real. I love the friendship between Sasha and Elena. I love all that sort of stuff. I want to talk about a little bit of that. You know, compared to your actual school experience, how does it compare? Did you ever get caught up? Did you ever feel like you were on an actual school when you were on set? You know, what did it feel like making those moments?
I mean, it was just really fun because everybody, all the kids, whenever we got together, it was a great time because they're all so sweet. I love them to pieces. So I had a blast, and filming with Carmina, you know, we just clicked so much, and we'd freak out and scream all the time, and everyone's like, okay, calm down. But it was fun. It was really fun.
You and Carmina, it feels like one of those things that it was immediate, right? Like it had to have been, because you guys look like you've been friends forever. Did you meet on this show?
Yeah. Yeah, it was the first time.
Do you still hang out and stuff and talk and chat?
Yeah, I mean, she's in LA, I'm in New York, so,
a little tough.
But we text all the time, we keep in touch, and whenever I get out there, we see each other. Yeah. She actually surprised me here.
Did she really?
She flew out.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
What for? Any special reason, or like?
No, just to see.
That's a friend, right?
Yeah, it was
cool.
so sweet.
What about your TV family? How long did it take for you guys to sort of bond and feel like a family and become, you know, like a real family?
It was pretty quick. Yeah. They're all so sweet, and I feel like Charlie and I clicked pretty fast. You know, we had met each other a little while before, and I was like, he's really quiet. But then once we started filming, he just was a completely different person. We just like clicked, and then me and Sally are also so close, and Weaver is so funny, who plays Sam. Yeah.
I was looking at your IMDb says like your first gig was Blind Spot a while ago, but like what was your first thing that you ever did when you realized, oh, I really like acting, I really like doing this stuff?
I was in Annie when I was 5.
No way.
Yeah. I was not Annie. I was a townsperson and a star to be. And it was great.
Of course. Do you remember? 5 is tough to pull memories from. But like the being on stage and being in front of an audience and all that stuff for the first time. Like, is that like truly like when you got like bit by the bug, as they say? Like, I got to do this. I love doing this.
Yeah, I mean, I had such a great time being on there performing, so it was really fun. And but I had always liked storytelling, and I always seen stories on TV and be like, okay, but how can I be in that? Right. So it really worked, and I think it clicked.
My first like gig ever that I did when I was in right before middle school, we did Wizard of Oz, and I was a Winky, which nobody knows what that is. But and Zeke, and Zeke is the guy that becomes the lion. I didn't get to be the lion.
Oh.
I got to come out and be Zeke. Then some other more talented kid was the lion, and then at the end I come out as Zeke again, and I just kind of waved to everybody. But the point is, I loved every second of it, and it was the first thing I'd ever done, and I met some amazing people and like really fell in love with telling stories and having fun and all that sort of stuff. What did you do after you were 5? What was the next thing you did? What was like your first like role?
I mean, after plays and stuff, I was in this independent film called, it was called Little Narwhal at the time, and now I think it's called Anya. Yes, so I was in that, and that was cool. It was a small role, but it was fun.
Did you guys, when you filmed this, was it during like the summertime or whatever, so you didn't have to balance like going to school and filming the show, or did you have to do both at the same time?
It was not. It was during school, but I missed a few, but I was young, so I wasn't like missing anything major, so it was fine.
Yeah, for sure. Well, this show is awesome. You are so awesome in it, and it's so much fun to watch. And I'm so excited for the next round of episodes because we got the first 5. We got another. It's 10 total, right?
10, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So we got another 5 to go, and I'm very excited to see where it goes. We're not done yet. We're going to take a couple of questions. We've got some in the room. I got at least 2. I'm going to get to them both. But just a quick reminder before we do that, if you haven't seen it yet, it's on Disney Plus. The whole first 5 episodes there. Episode 6 drops tomorrow. The show's fantastic. If you're not watching it, you're missing out. First question comes from Kennedy. Kennedy, you have a microphone. Go for it.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. So kind of piggybacking on what you were saying as far as school, balancing the two, you said you're on break right now. Mm-hmm. Is it really hard for you or in the past or now to balance the two?
Yeah. It was.
You're not alone in that. I heard about that on here. Yeah.
They said that they were going to be really great and chill about it, and I think they have good intentions, but it's hard, and it's hard to miss school, and I get everybody. It's just a challenging situation for everybody, but it was definitely a lot of work I had to make up, and it was definitely I didn't miss that much school even because we filmed over the summer, but I missed about a month, and then after that I think I missed about 2 months worth of lunches. And I like didn't eat lunch ever because I was just like in class. I always had to like go to class and like take tests that they would tell me about like the day before that I had missed, and it was a mess.
It's hard. It's really hard.
Yeah.
You're not. We've heard I say this all the time. The kids from Stranger Things. I just had awesome dude in here, Christopher. He's the star of this new horror movie, The Boy too. Like all these different people that like it's a really hard thing to do when you're young to balance school and being in there. But you figure it out.
Yeah.
When you're missing lunch, you're just cramming carrot sticks and hummus and pita, just whatever you could.
If I'm lucky.
Just snacking. Very, very cool. All right, we got time for one more question. Let's go for it. Arthur, we've given you a microphone. Make us proud.
Hello, congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
I was wondering, this reminds me a little bit of Cory in the House, a Disney show that I watched up growing up, in the sense that it takes place in the White House. I was wondering if there's any show you watched growing up that kind of inspired you to become an actor in a Disney show?
Yes. The Fresh Beat Band and Dora the Explorer.
Really?
Yes. I love Dora, and I love the Fresh Beat Band. And so one day I asked my mom, I was like, how can I be in the Fresh Beat Band? Like, how can we make this happen? And she had to explain to me, okay, so they're not real, they're actors. And I was like, great, let's do that then.
We're awesome, that acting thing. That's what I want to do.
Let's do it.
Has doing this show, like obviously you're loving acting and you want to keep doing this, any aspirations of maybe running for office? Do you think you want to be president?
Oh God, no.
Really?
That seems like so much work.
Probably.
That's like the hardest
I'll tell you right now, if you were running,
job.
I'd vote for you. I'll tell you right now, honestly. But yeah, I mean, you can do anything at this point. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming here and hanging out. It's been such an awesome time chatting with you. I'll remind everyone before we get out of here that Diary of a Future President is on Disney Plus right now, episodes 1 through 5. You can go watch them right now. Episode 6 drops tomorrow, and then it's every week. Just get a new episode, all right? So go ahead and check it out if you haven't already. Anything else you want to tell the world about before we get out of here? Anything else coming on?
I love you.
Awesome. We love you back. Thanks so much, Tess. You guys were a great audience. Thanks so much for hanging out. Thanks for those who tuned in. Go ahead and make some noise real quick and join me in properly thanking the great Tess Romero.